All right. Well, we'll give a minute or so for people to start rolling in here now that the event is live. Welcome to all the early birds. Thank you all so much for being here. Good to see you, Joel, Enid, Golem, Mark. Let's see. Oh, yeah. we had some heavy hitters come in last week, too. What is it? Thoughtful Bear as well. I loved your stuff from last week. I'll be so curious to see what you get into this time. We got Senior Carlos here. Got Hype, got Noob Lady. I had a wonderful conversation with Noob Lady during the jam session after the office hours. And Fun Game Answers here. Awesome. Well, we're just going to give a little more time for people to roll on in here. But I hope you guys have had a wonderful start or a wonderful Friday. I know it's the start of the weekend for everybody, so usually it's a good time. I'm happy I'm at the start of the high of your weekend. Thank you all for spending that time with me. Yeah, weekend. Exactly. Yeah. I'm very eager to enjoy this weekend because this whole week has just been various medical and other things, like just personal stuff that I'm just like, that's not fun. This is a lot more fun. So I was looking forward to the stream today. Um, the I I will say that the at least for the short term, I feel like most of what I'm going to be like excited, at least going to be pushing towards, is going to be trying to create short narratives with you guys this week that is going to be somewhat sci-fi focused or otherwise related to machines. And my partner and I had a couple funny ideas on what we could do with that. um we were thinking of like a robot sitcom called The Clankers or something. It's just just like we were thinking like, oh, and no one can recognize that they're robots, but everyone that they obviously do very robotic things. I thought some ideas like that might be fun to explore. For a more lighthearted interpretation of sci-fi rather than like gritty post-apocalyptic every time. So we'll see what we get
Yeah.
into this week. I want to diversify a bit and have some fun with you guys today. Um, like I said earlier, Rhapsody will not be in today. It'll be me. And I'm joined here with Kinky and AC from Midjourney. Thank you guys so much.
Well, howdy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, I really do appreciate you guys being here, hanging out, and for making this happen. For anyone that is new here, my name is Victor Gnarly. I'm a former visual effects artist for various Adult Swim shows like Robot Chicken, Moral Oral, and a bunch of others. But now I'm doing this stuff with you guys, and I love it. I love being able to sit down and just make stuff with a group of people in a whole new way. And it really it's just so much more fun than the oftentimes corporate stuffiness of network television. So,
Do you want to be streaming right now?
huh? I don't see you,
Do
Vic.
you need to be
Oh,
streaming?
that's right. That's right. I didn't hit the button. I didn't hit the button on this.
I did the same thing earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Just because I had you on the plane.
exactly. Yeah, you had me on the Twitch stream, so like, there's no like you wouldn't even notice. Yeah, no. I totally forgot to hit one button, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Golem. That's what happens when AC isn't in charge of the button. No, he is in charge of the button. He's doing button things, but this is that isn't all the buttons. Like I still have a couple of buttons that I have to hit. Oh, hey Lolo, good to see you, man. I know Lolo's particularly excited about the sci-fi related stuff, so we'll be digging into all that. We have a personalization result for you all to check out as well. I posted inside of VC Create. You can see that this little it's Narde response to Gom Pasta's version of it. The only thing I did was I put Victor's character description in there, but I also swapped out the profiles. And the two profiles that you see in this prompt is one of them is my personalization code, which is the 17QY9WX, and the other one is the Sage 3.0 mood board. So all that's using the Niji 7 to produce this style of comic rather than you can see just how dramatically different between the personalization codes you get. I mean, this screams to me a pretty cat girl imagery art. It's just definitely what is right above it from Golem. So I'm curious, Golem, is this your personalization code as well, or is this just a mood board? I was curious. maybe it's an SREF that you found. I am curious, but we'll dig into how to make those yourself here. It's a Bubble Tech mood board. Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But a really good way to hone in Midjourney right off the bat to making stuff more like what you probably want to make is using personalization. So if you open midjourney.com and you go to personalize, you'll be able to add profiles depending on the model from Midjourney. So you could see there's V6, there's Niji 7, there's V7, so on and so forth, as well as Niji 6. But basically what you do is you go in and you start ranking results. So the idea is we can hop ourselves into, let's see, can we, how do I jump into the rankings? Okay, there you go. Just click on it. So you just pick between between these two options of which ones you prefer, and you'll be able to basically hone in the code for yourself to where it's more likely going to give you something that you like, and it is defined by the model. So if you're looking to do more realism, less anime kind of stuff, then do version 7 rather than Niji 7, because Niji 7 is going to give you very Eastern influence. It's just basically it's the anime model. So we're going to be using Niji 7 quite a lot, but we also want to encourage you guys to diversify yourselves as well. Try other models out, going all the way back to like V5 even. I'm just so curious to see what your all's favorite favorite models are while we're doing this, because we'll be able to iterate and even take existing prompts and bring them to older and newer models in real time. So for anyone that is new here, I do want to just kind of show you guys where everything is really quick. So inside of Discord here, you are going to find right above the stage VC Text and VC Create. VC Text is on the left side of my screen here, and this is where you could chat with me. You could tell me to do something or to stop doing something. It's just a way to communicate with everyone in the room. And then VC Create is where we're actually prompting stuff together. So you're more than welcome to send in your favorite prompts. You don't have to make a new prompt either. You can use /show. So just type /show, and that will ask for a job ID. I love Narte. Oh, thank you. It's very cute. But what we can do is we can bring in a previous prompt. So let's just go to my profile here really quick here. This short comic here is a little too many curse words in it because it's an Office Space reference. So I'm gonna grab another one from here. Let's go for this one. This one is just using my global profile, but you could just go to the hamburger menu here where it says more, and then click on copy. And I got to shrink this down a little bit so you can see all that. There we go. Okay, hit more, and then copy, and then job ID, and that's going to let you hop right on over to back over to VC Create, paste that job ID, and now anyone can have access to that prompt and iterate off that prompt as well. So this is one that I was actually doing for the Next Stage comic, exploring around my personalization code to see if I could cut out a good amount of the generative labor involved in making comics. For anyone that is not familiar with my series or anything like that, I make an office comedy that's set in the 90s. And this has heavily improved the consistency of particularly things like the line weight and my color palettes. So the mood boards and style references are going to help kind of finish it, but I'm super happy with what my personalization code can do after ranking 200 images. So now if you wanted to come in and make your own version of this, you can just hit that reroll button and submit it to Midjourney. But I highly recommend going to /settings and making sure that remix mode is turned on. It should be if this little green button is highlighted after typing /settings. That means that remix mode is on, and we can easily iterate on anyone's prompts that they send in here. So it's a very fast way to have fun and make stuff together. So you can see a comedic comic with 2 robots, one robot saying beep. This is Gonpasta combining 3 different profiles here. And you can see we definitely get just that. It's a beep and then an interaction of some sort. I love the 4th one the most. I think that's probably the the most potential to like, edit and have some fun with the text there. But you can use even just empty's expression like this, where it really kind of pushes you to rewrite the text yourself, and rely on the physical comedy of the gag to kind of fit to inspire the actual written dialogue. There's all sorts of ways you can make art, guys. You don't have to have the whole idea figured out. You can explore, and Midjourney is all about exploration. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be diving in and exploring all sorts of cool profiles and ideas related to March of the Machines. So you can already tell that people are already going hard on robots here. But I do like the idea of doing a robot sitcom called The Clankers. So we could maybe lead into that a little bit today, but I want to also try other things out. I see Jenner's posted a dog rolling in fresh spring grass with this SREF code, which is, probably a very stark black and white code. It almost seems like this extremely high threshold art, which is really, really good if you want to do things like line art, for example. And there's the same prompt but with a different SREF, and you could see just the diversity that SREF codes really let you get off of it. But they're also the most constrained out of them all. So you could see all four of these results are exactly the same. All four of these results are exactly the same in terms of what the qualities are that these codes manipulate. So if I now grab this one, because this is just a V7 prompt, we can try a Niji version of it first just to see how much different that is. I like to do this first because it really lets me understand like how much the model from Midjourney is influencing this. So if I then do Niji 7 again, but this time I'm going to write -- raw, which is a parameter that lets us kind of bypass some of the default settings inside of the Niji model. We can oftentimes really explore that SREF code in what it can be, what's its true potential, because we're less pigeonholed into specific genres doing that. So let's take a look at what happened when we applied Niji and then also applied raw. Let's go. Oh, thank you so much for looking at all this stuff, Kinky. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Suddenly not getting me used to DG7 until I personalize more. Yeah, I get that. I get that where it just feels like you have just a big smorgasbord of options that come in every time, and you don't really get that fidelity that you have with previous, personalized models. I totally get that. So I am curious to see what it looks like after you do rate 200, 300 plus images, But you can see here, just the default Niji model right off the bat. Applied an element of color to it, which was not in the original at all. So this is showing the differences with the model, but the SRF is still very much in effect here. We're still getting that stark black and white. We might need to describe the characters as being black and white to retain it what we had before. But now when we go into raw, look at, we have so much color now all of a sudden, and I don't have a clean explanation for this, guys. It's just one of those things where if you notice the trends are leaning more in the direction that you like for raw, then lean into raw. If they're not, then don't. But there's more realism that tends to come out with raw, right? So I think for the purposes of saying my intention is to match this style as close as possible, the standard version is the right way to go with this. And then maybe we could even do a negative prompt on top of that. So let's try -- no. And a negative prompt is just going to try to avoid things inside the image. So why don't we just say color and see how far that takes us? I've seen some pretty wild negative commands, including specific like hex colors, things like that. Like I oftentimes will use no if there's a predominant like sepia tone on it. I'll say no sepia or no yellow or whatever. Looks like I got an error on that one. So let's go ahead and let's see here. Just need to scroll on back really quick here. There you go. I'm going to try no one more time here. -- no color. Sometimes you'll just get these little job errors and stuff, and it's just redo the prompt. It's just a minor bug. No big deal. A grinning face violently breaking through a destroyed office cubicle partition wall, drywall dust and debris exploding outward towards viewer, harsh fluorescent lighting, mundane corporate setting contrast with unhinged energy, graphic novel style, high contrast dynamic compositions, and then you're using a bunch of srf code, a bunch of profile codes. Niji 7 Lolo suit. Yep. Yep. I mean, it has the chaos that that your stuff can have. So I get it. I was going to guess Lolo for reading the name there. Um, but if we wanted to have it be a little more like this, feels like I could take the face out and use it as a close up or something. But I'm curious if we more said like let me reiterate on this one. Instead of a grinning face violently breaking through, because a grinning face, that's the thing that's breaking through. So it's going to predominantly look at a face. So why don't we do instead a man doing a somersault? I did not spell somersault correctly. There you go. And breaking through a destroyed office cubicle partition. And keep most of everything else the same. I think that'll be fine. And then narrow the profiles down if it becomes a little too chaotic. I find myself turning on and off things more often. Look at this, a pink robot girl with long hair and her robot mother standing across from each other in an office cubicle. That is adorable. All right, we gotta upscale the third one here because that one's just like on the money with what the prompt is here. There you go. You got a robot girl and her mother. I love that. I love that they have matching headphones indicated, because that's something that if you say a character and their mother or their parent or their dad or whatever, it tends to take attributions of the character that you're kind of focusing on and gives them, taller, oftentimes taller or otherwise aged faces, things like that. It's a really good way to kind of make family members of your characters. It's how I originally made Destiny. I took Sage and said her mother and said that she was a hippie, and that was enough. So exploring with Midjourney is amazing. You got a charger, and then burp, 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 burp. I love these what do they call them in the VR chat space where they have these robotic animal people? I forgot what they're called. But they have these digital screen faces as well. It's pretty cool. Protogens. Thank you. Yes, protogens. One of my friends is really into them, so I should have known the name. But yes, they are furries. They are technically furries with no fur. They're robots. But yes, protogens. But I love the idea of them kind of having these digital screens to where they can just emote things. It's such a fun way, especially in animation, to do that. So exploring that might be pretty fun, especially with Midjourney video results. But I see we got another comic here. Let's see what's going on from Noob Lady. If you cleaned it once in a while, I wouldn't have had to do this. I love the close-up of the feet vacuuming, though. Hold on, I gotta upscale that one. The prompt is passive-aggressive vacuum attachment sucks up crumbs while muttering, if you cleaned once in a while, I wouldn't have to do this. And then the profile codes from the Sage comics in my personalization. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love the I love the carpet and the shoes though. Like this perspective to me feels the most like it's like the most fun way for me to establish a scene. So there's kind of a common misconception that you need to have an establishing shot whenever you introduce a new location or scene inside of a narrative. That is not true. The establishing shot, one, does not always have to be first, and two, doesn't always have to be a wide angle shot showing the entire space or the room. It really needs to be something that sets the tone and the vibe and gives enough information for the audience to really start to understand the character more so than the space itself. So it can oftentimes feel a little lazy just to bring up the whole room and be like, yep, we're in a living room. Yep, we're at a cafe or whatever it is. If you focus on something, a prop, if you do some prop comedy, and you focus on an object of some sort, and you just kind of let that be, like, for example, say that someone is nervously waiting to go on a date, right? Do you open up with them sitting at the cafe or at the diner, alone in a chair, just kind of looking at the window? or maybe you focus on their coffee cup and the fact that they're like kind of neurotically like stirring it, or maybe or tapping the glass in a nervous way. The nervous tapping indicates to the audience much faster that she is that she's nervous, that she's anxious about what's about to happen. If you start off with an establishing shot where the characters are very far away and that you see the whole room, it feels a lot less intimate. It feels like you literally just walked into a restaurant or a diner and just saw her sitting there. While if you focus on that really personal moment at the start, and then maybe cut out or cut away to a larger shot to reveal that it's a specific diner, or whatever, then that will have much more impact on the audience. In fact, the next comic that I have has a close up of an old QWERTY keyboard, a classic classic CRT monitor that sits right in front of it, because I want to establish the time period for the audience first. Like, I want people to feel like they're back in the 90s before I even start the story. So we won't be getting into any of that today, but we'll be definitely diving into more of these Clanker comics from you guys. Hold on a second. Wake up, slap machine, robot arm that gently or not slaps you awake, escalating force to the acknowledges existence. Wow, what a premise. That is awesome though. I would imagine that you could say a little more direction about what's happening in which panels, right? Like in the first panel, he is asleep. In the second panel, he is knocked awake or something like that. We could probably mess around with that a bit. Let's see. We also have cat-powered vacuum harness, the iCat bot style. Man, you're on a roll with this today, Noob Lady. Strap your cat onto a Roomba-like base with a harness so they clean the house while running in terror. Oh, this is hilarious. I'm not a furry, right? Right. There's a chart you could look up to determine how furry you are. I've seen it before. The clap band. Oh wow. Okay, yeah. These Roomba cat hybrids are kind of it is really funny how it worked on the first one though. It is certainly a cat strapped to a Roomba, and the cat is very, very unhappy about it with the second panel. So that's really quite funny to me. All right, so we got some more robots visiting the Discord VC Create channel. There you go. Very good. A toothbrush helmet attachment, a full helmet with you know what I feel like Noob Lady's doing right now? I feel like she's okay, yeah, Grok ideas. Okay, yeah, sure. I will say this. It sounds a lot like you're making bad QVC commercials. Like, you know what I mean? Like failed products that are about to which we did talk about potentially doing at some point. So I do like the idea. It'll be fun to keep digging into that. I know that plenty of you guys use other models, especially LLMs, in order to like kind of embellish on your prompts or otherwise explore things. I'm very curious always to hear about where you guys get, the prompts or the ideas from. But you are on a roll though, so that's fun. Okay, my somersault one got canceled due to output filters. So I'm gonna just retry that prompt again, and see, because the thing is that filter is applied after the image is generated, right? So sometimes that specific image is like, or just one of those four results had something that was particularly a breaking of TOS inside of it. So it just avoids showing it. I just rerun the prompts, guys. I don't really get hung up whenever I see that stuff, just because I know that I can just try it again and see if it works. I'm used to exploring some ideas. I might try breaking into the multi-panels, like you said. Yeah, you could say like across multiple panels is probably the most, like at least for me, especially across different models, seems to be the most effective to tell like a quick story with it. So let's make a new one here. A looming, intimidating mech behind a cute girl. I see that's pretty fun. I really like the color palette from this profile though. So let's go ahead and try to iterate that, but say maybe across some panels and see what effect that does. So we will say across multiple panels, across multiple comic panels, depict, and that's usually how I do a very simple setup. There's other ways that we can do more complex setups, like across multiple panels, each with their own dynamic composition is another example of like kind of taking it up another level. But I'm going to say here that it's going to be across multiple comic panels, depict a looming, intimidating mech behind a cute girl. um, uh, who is okay. Let's just say that it's a looming, intimidating mech behind a cute girl, and say that the cute girl argues, "You're late." Uh, and then maybe in the second panel, a speech bubble reads, "I'm going to be late for class." And she's going to use it like a skateboard or something. This is a very common idea that I tend to go through here, just because I've done the late for class running anime trope so many times. It's what I actually started my very first tutorial, the version 4 tutorial for animation. That was literally Micah being late for class, and I just ran with that idea all the way through. So I'm definitely familiar with that trope, and it would be fun to maybe give her some toast or something to run with. Let's see. I'll cancel due to output filters. So sad. So sad. Did I get canceled again? No, I did not. It's right here. Okay. And here is the full body somersault instead of the grinning face that Lola had provided earlier. And you could see that by just changing the focal, like the start of the focus or the premise, we effectively changed the composition almost entirely when it comes to like what is actually busting through the wall here, right? So by saying it's a man somersaulting through, it lets us also be able to say like, oh, maybe there was a cannon or something. So like in order to launch him through the room, so we could say that across multiple panels, depict a man, instead of doing somersaults, a man launched from a human cannonball cannon and breaking through an office cubicle partition wall. Let's just go with that with the exact same premise and see how well that one also performs with the across multiple panels. Okay, so this was the cute girl, you're late, and then I'm going to be late for class. I'm going to be late for class. There you go. Okay, cool. This is really cute already.
Lost audio for you there for a second.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Lost your audio there for a second. Just cut out briefly.
Oh, I did cut out. My bad. Everything's still working on my end though, so I can at least say let's jump back a little bit here just to say that the cancel through the output filters made me laugh. And what is a shocked person reading a red flashing warning canceled through the output filters? You guys are just going on a roll with that. Okay, all right. It was probably just an internet blip here, honestly. I've had some very unreliable internet, as you guys have known, with the amount of snowfall that we've been dealing with here in the States. But it's gotten better. So there you go. Sounded fine here. Okay, cool. Let's see here how this multiple panels across was shot out of a cannon. Okay. Yes. So we definitely get some really fun forced perspective stuff. It's definitely challenging for it to understand like, the complete premise. I feel like if I rewrote this in a couple ways it'd be better. But I love this like wild perspective shot here where you could easily just in-paint him all discombobulated in the air and then a cannon right behind him as well. So this might even just take some variations for us to get that. So I will upscale this one. And then I will do very subtle. Yes, you can tell that my language is limited, by the way. I say discombobulated a lot because it's a really great prompt. It's a really great prompt to mess with. Okay, two people across two panels. A girl's running and stops suddenly. On the first panel, the speech bubble reads, "I'm late for class." On the second panel, the other person says, "You're 31." Is this like you're having a nightmare? And you think that you're going to be late for class, but you're just you're like 20 years past those years. This is too funny. This is it right here. I'm late for class, and she doesn't have a face of distress, which we could always add to the prompt in order to enforce, but we can also edit it to feature that. So we'll be showing off the editor a bit as well. Yeah, as I thought, doing variations gave us all sorts of different options for this character specifically to be busting through the wall, but I'm not seeing a lot of what I was expecting when it comes to the seeing the cannon more. So we probably need to reiterate the or focus on that cannon there. And ooh, the French cafe. I like it. I like it's the mother, the pink and her mother. The 3D effect on here is insane. Yeah, I saw you upscaled this one already. So we could animate this just by hitting low animation, high animation on this. What I want, I'm looking here, pick robot with the long and sitting across from each other in a French cafe. I feel like that will give us enough information to animate like at least some dynamic motion, but you could also just delete the text entirely and rely on we got to write at least motion high on there. We can rely on just what's inside the image in order to dictate what this animation is. So oftentimes I find more interesting stuff by running off of the image interrogation alone, like just writing like what motion I want and then seeing what we get, unless I have a specific idea in mind for what action should be happening in this scene. So we'll be checking that out here in a moment. But I'm loving this year 31 one though. It's too freaking funny. I'm gonna hop back to that in a minute. Then what was? Oh yes. I really like these robots here though. Like this third one here is legit. You're late. We probably want to change some of the text out here, but I really love that pink robot. It's a really cool robot. Yeah, it's more of the late. You're late for class. That's great. I want to dig into that. In fact, we're gonna go into this one really quick, and let's already go into copy image address here, and then we're gonna go to the Midjourney website. Now you can just go ahead and edit off of any of your own results, but you don't. You can also edit other images you find online or that other people have made, just by going to the edit function up here. And then it's going to give you two options, edit by URL or edit by uploaded image. And if you just copy and paste an image into this window, it'll also work. But I'm going to hit edit from URL this time. And then I'm going to paste the URL to that image. Now, I want her to be more in distress for this, right? So let's first outpaint everything that doesn't look like someone who's in distress. So that would be her eyes, her mouth. I'm going to say that even her eyebrows should be changed to be a little more squinted and frustrated. I'm going to... Actually, let's go back here. I'm going to change her pupil direction to be kind of looking at her, at least encourage that by filling in just the left side of the eye pupil, or just the eye here, so that the pupil relocates a bit. But now I'm going to take the profile codes that we have here, because they are going to assist us in the edit. They're going to assist us in making sure that the edit stays online with the with the final art, or like art style that was used. So let's say that she is squinting face of pain, squinting face of pain. And I wouldn't say like distress or anything, because I don't want her crying, right? I want her to be like squinting and frustrated, like, like anxious for the to get there. So I do notice that her body is a bit twisted in an odd way as well. Like it kind of looks like she's trying to avoid something. Like maybe there was like a child in the way while she's running, and she's kind of twisting her hip around it. So to kind of fix that as well, I'm also going to come into here and I'm going to just in-paint her body here, like so. And then inside this prompt, I'm going to say that it's a woman running towards us. Let's get rid of the images here, okay? Multiple panels depicting a woman running. And we might want to describe her outfit a little bit if it does veer away from that. I think we're going to be good off of this, though. Her shoulders may still indicate a bit of a twist in there, so I'm going to come in and just take out this shoulder here as well. I'm late for class. What are we doing? Hey, Elgarden, good to see you, buddy. We're going to be doing some robot themed stuff here today. I pitched the idea of doing a sitcom with called The Clankers, where where it's just a bunch of robots. But I kind of like the idea of also like it's a sitcom where they're robots, but no one recognizes that they're robots, even though they do very obviously robot things, right? That might be a fun idea to explore, but we'll keep on it. I want you guys to give me ideas though, inside of text chat, especially. That is probably the most direct way to get me to iterate on some sort of pitch, joke, or whatever. I am more than happy to if I see it inside of a VC text. So now I have squinting face of pain, multiple panels depicting a woman running. I don't really care too much about the order right now because I really am more looking at this as what are the focal points of what I'm trying to change, right? And we may have to say that there's two people in it because there is two people and it may only apply it to one face or whatever. But let's go ahead and hit submit on this and see how well or how close we get to my edits. And then from here, it's really just a matter of making sure that everything is makes sense from like not just a emotional performance, but also anatomically or anything like that. That's the kind of corrections that I oftentimes end up making edits is I'm removing things or I'm fixing anatomy in some way. But let's take a look at the 4 results here. Yes, we got it here. We got the squinting face. She looks more like she's like, oh, I oughta, with this face here. But I like the squinting running face here. I like her body more in the first one though. So here's how we're gonna combine these two together. Okay. So and you notice that on the bottom right one, we don't really have a pupil looking in the correct direction. So we're going to combine these and then add that pupil in later. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit upscale to create page on both of the results that I like. Depending on depending on how this comes out, we might have to like, especially when it comes to adding that little extra pupil there. We don't have a pen tool, but there are so many ways to manipulate images with your computer, your phone, or whatever. That's one of the easiest things to add is just a dot for a pupil or anything. But let's go ahead and do the rest of this in Midjourney though, just so that you know that you have all the tools you need to be able to make stuff like this, to make little narrative comics and things. And I do lean a little too much on comics, guys. I apologize about that. It's where my head is 90% of the time, especially for the rest of the week. I tend to be quite focused on that stuff. So I want to break out of that habit though, and I want to be able to make more video related content, especially with the Midjourney video model working so well with Niji 7. I definitely want to dig into that. So, like I was saying earlier, the first comic is the next comic features an establishing shot that doesn't actually establish the room. It's a close up of a computer keyboard. So, it's sometimes you just need to set the tone, and in a way that is going to keep an interest for the audience. But really, at the end of the day, it's more for your story than anything else. I wonder why the comic artist focused on comics. Yeah, I wonder why. But let's see here. Okay, so we have our 2 results here. We have our 2 upscaled images. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy one of them, say copy image URL, and I'm going to go back into the editing tool. And the thing is that we have this version right now. So why don't we grab the version that has the body that we liked, and that's the one we're going to hit copy image URL, go back to edit. We could just start off fresh with both images, but I'm going to go down to the layers function here and hit add from URL, and then paste that second result where we're like, oh, I like the body more on this, and we can basically just turn it on and off to see. Let's see here. Is there not a mute on here? I can reorder the layers, so we could just quickly reorder the layers to see. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the erase tool on the first result, the layer 2 here. So I first drag layer 1 down to that because I know what I want to get rid of, and I do want to get rid of this body right here and replace it with the body that's underneath it here. So that means that I will click now layer 1. We're going to go to the erase painting tool. We're going to make sure that our brush is pretty decent in size, and we're going to hit erase. Now, erase isn't going to just erase the parts of the image like you might be familiar with the tools like Photoshop or anything like that. It erases that layer. So we're going to just erase now the body we did not like and replace it with the body we did that's in the layer below it. So you can see as I'm just kind of scrolling up into here, I could start to reveal the rest of her body here. And because we already knew where we inpainted it, I can just erase parts of this and it would be exactly the same. But just because I know that I only inpainted her body here and her face. Sorry, I only inpainted her face here and her pupils down there. So it's really easy for me to know if I go too far, if I edit or break something. It's not I can't do it because the images are actually very similar to each other. So now that we have this erased, it's kind of hard to tell, but on the bottom left corner, you could see that there's a little bit of a hole inside the image. This now lets us basically says that we have masked the section of the body here, revealing the body that's underneath it. And there you go. We now have these two images combined. If I wanted to get rid of this pupil, I think I could maybe... No, there's no pupil underneath there. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab a pupil. I'm just going to use Google really quick for this one. So let's do animate eye pupil. I know you guys can't see this just yet. I just want to make sure I don't get anything risque. You would be surprised how little it takes to get something weird. Okay, there we go. I got a lot of varieties of eyes here. Okay, let's do this one here. So I am going to grab this image here. Yep, let's do this one. Okay. And I've grabbed an image of an eye, and I'm going to just hit add on here, and then add from URL. If you do have a set of eyes for your characters already, that's actually a way better way to do this instead of always getting a variety from the internet. It is a lot better just to to save a library of eyes for yourself. But for this sake, what we're going to do is we are going to take this eye. We're going to use the Smart Select tool. Smart Select. Let's see here. And we're just going to select the pupil. There you go. We have now the eye selected here. I want to go a little bit. We'll do the second selection just to capture that last little bit up here. And then we're going to say erase background so that it preserves everything that's in green. And now we can just scale this down. We go to move and scale and then scale this on down like so. Oh, it's not letting me scale it any lower than this. Oh no. I have hit a limit for how small I can make something. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You know why? Because we're just going to use this to make a very simple pupil, okay? That's something I have not run into yet. I have not run. She's a giant eyeball. She's Sauron. But no. What I'm going to do for this, I'm going to go for edit here, paint, erase, and now I'm just going to erase, oops, not that layer, the layer above it. There we go. I'm going to erase the eye itself. Well, why is it? Okay. There we go. I got to be inside of the box. There we go. So I'm going to come in and just start highlighting around just a very, very tight spot to be the black dot for the pupil. Okay. I know I'm doing this in kind of a hacky way, guys, but I just need this to work. So we can use any image. As long as there's a dark spot in the image, you can use this to make a pupil, okay? You're 31. Yes, this is perfect. You have the outfits correct. You have the demeanor. We got to get the characters in the right positions though. We'll do that next. We'll make an iteration on yours. So like now what I'm going to do though is I'm just going to erase a little more. Let's go for here and a little bit down here. And now I can use the move tool and just move the eyeball to be looking at her. Okay. Something like this. Very simple, very easy. You can literally use any image and just get a dark spot and then color it or paint it in like this. But now we have made this comic. We've iterated off of 2 different versions of Midjourney and then gone from there. I do want to say I did get a PM from somebody. I'm just going to remind you all right now that I do not respond to PMs. I do everything as a public teaching thing. So if you do want to ask questions directly or otherwise, participate, or maybe you have a project in mind that you want to work on, I highly recommend joining the Gnarly Studios Discord. It's the Discord that was created specifically for you guys to be able to work with me throughout the rest of the week, as well as just work with each other and make cool things together. So you'll find links for it inside of VC Text. But the cool thing about it is that you're able to hop into that space and just start collaborating with each other. And the reason why I do it as a Discord server is so that everyone benefits from our collaborations, and it also keeps away the people that just want to make money, right? Because they're like, oh, it has to be private in order to make money. I don't want to do that. I just want to make cool things with you guys. So if it's a technical question or anything like that, and you ask it in a public space on this Discord, I'll answer it, no problem. But if you send me a PM and then expect me to, to basically do free creative consulting for you, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that for you. So everything's public, everything's visible for you guys inside of the Gnarly Studio server. And the only thing you guys got to do to get in there is to click the join button right here. So click on join the server or join server on Gnarly Studios, and you'll be able to start working with us right away. And it's just a very fun way to do things. So
It's coming.
no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Geek. You'll find links for it in VC Text. But we can see here that the only thing wrong with this image is actually the composition of the second panel. So if I come into here and I hit copy, this is Gomes' version. She has a giant eye now. Indeed, that's what she did when I was editing it. But let's go ahead and try doing a quick recomposition. Instead of combining two results like we did earlier with the editor, let's try a new one with the editor here. New. I'm going to hit edit from URL, and I'm going to paste the URL from Gomes Pasta. Gomes Pasta. That's okay. Have you made that joke yet, by the way, Gomes? Like, you need to make like a pasta shop and, have a lot of different celebrities that show up. Yeah, do that. It'll be fun. But let's go ahead and now change the composition of this instead of change or iterate off of multiple results from Midjourney here. So this is a pretty fun way to do it. What we're going to do is we are going to basically isolate each character or at least each element of the comic to be its own layer inside of Midjourney. And so to do that, we actually just hit add, and then we hit add from URL, and we paste the same link again. Okay. And you can see now we have two layers on the bottom here. I know it's a little tough to see right there, but on the bottom layer, we have two of the exact same images. So this means that now I can isolate one of them, okay, to be just a specific character. So let's go ahead and hit Smart Select. And now let's grab the character on the left here for the second panel. I'm only going to focus on the second panel. So let's just go ahead and start selecting her. And we got a nice clean selection with this one. And I'm going to say erase background. Okay. It'll look like nothing changed. Okay. It'll look like nothing changed because if you've only isolated part of the image, you've not changed any parts of the image. So let's do this again. I'm going to hit add again and then paste from URL to create a third layer. And we're going to do the same thing, but with the other character. So now we're going to hit, let's see, paint. No. We're going to smart select and then include. Okay. We now have the second character selected here. It's a pretty decent selection, but I'm getting a little bit of fraying on the edges here. So I'm going to just do a couple more selections. That's good enough. I think that's good for what we're doing here. So now we're going to hit erase background for this one as well. And now we have two layers that just feature the characters. We will want to do one that also includes the speech bubble. That'll be the last one. So let's add URL. Do that one last time. And we are going to select the speech bubble here. Good. That went off of just one easily. So let's go ahead and now erase background on that. Okay, so now before I can start moving these elements, these assets around, I need to get rid of what's in the background here. Okay, so why don't we go to the very first version of this, the layer 4. It's the very bottom layer of this. And we are going to now smart select all of the stuff that we had selected earlier. So come down to here. I'll drag this up to the top first because it seems like what it's trying to do is it's trying to prefer the selections that I had before for what I'm clicking. So I just want to make sure I'm on layer 1. And we're going to just start smart selecting all of the characters and the speech bubbles we had before. And now we're going to hit erase selection on this result. And you could see here that it looks like the characters are still there, but that's because they are now underneath this result here. So let's go ahead and now drag that back to the bottom. And now we should be able to move the character and that speech bubble independently without having to worry about the others. So let's go ahead and hit movement on the speech bubble and movement on the girl here on the bottom. I can hold shift as well in order. Does that not work? Okay, yeah, shift is not working. Let's just go ahead and hit this here. We'll just do this. Go ahead and click. I love how you shuffle like this. Yeah, I'm a king of shuffleboard. But we will go ahead and now select the girl running in the background. I need to get rid of this. Come on. It's the bounding boxes that are confusing me. Sorry about that, guys. But now we're going to have her run over here. We're going to put the speech bubble down here and then take her and put her here. And what I want to do with the girl running is I want to actually increase her scale here. So let's go ahead and do that by moving her around. And oh, it's not going to let me make it bigger. I just can only make it smaller. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. We'll just say that she's saying you're 31 here. Put her down there. Take the speech bubble, put it right around here. And we'll go for something like this. I'm going to shrink down the girl that's standing here, to be more like she just passed her, right? That makes the most sense to me. I'm gonna push this to the side because this bounding box for this 31 here is really throwing me off. So let's go ahead and shrink this down to about the same head size. You could actually overlap the heads and compare the sizes to be like, oh yeah, she just ran past her. Okay, let's put about here. And now we'll grab that speech bubble and say you're 31. Okay. Something like here. Okay. Now that we have this lightly or loosely recomposited, we have to make sure that we have enough area or space to fill that will fill the rest of her body that's down here as well. So let's go ahead and go to that bottom layer here, go into the paint tool, and we are going to hit erase. And we're just going to imagine where the rest of her body is inside of this panel here. Something like this. Okay, that should be good. And now anywhere where there is a little bit of a negative or an alpha channel that's visible, it's going to try to fill that as a completed image as soon as we hit submit on this. So we need to make sure that this fully at least describes what we want to do. So there's a lot of problem solving with this little tutorial, guys. Sorry about that. But let's go ahead and now write that this is 2 girls in a comic. Let's rewrite that a little bit. We're gonna say that this is a 2-panel comic depicting a girl shouting at another girl who is running. Cup. I don't know what you're referring to there, Edith, but okay, let's just go ahead and I just randomly cup. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and just in place there and then just say submit for this, because the only thing we really want to emphasize here is that we want to make sure that it as written, it's showing that we have these 2 girls, and it should be able to understand the rest of this just from that. But I'm also going to go ahead and alpha channel for the edge of this comic panel as well. And we see these little stress markers here. I'm going to leave them there. I think that's going to be fine. But let's go ahead and now hit submit on this. And it's going to do a lot of really interesting patchwork in order to solve this problem, in order to make this image make sense. There is some edge fraying that we want to kind of, take into consideration. We'll see how we clean that up here in a minute. So you can see that we have some we even have some bits of her that show up here. And I know why that is. I'll explain that in a moment here. But we have recomposited this. We have her as a different girl standing here. But what we need to do is we need to take into effect that there's actually a slight edge to all these selections for the characters here. Yeah, alpha channel. Thank you so much. I've kind of speed run a little bit too fast on that one. So Anatarian asks, alpha channel. Can you explain that a bit, please? Okay. So an alpha channel is your transparent layer in your image editing program. That can be Photoshop. That could be really anything that supports an alpha channel is probably going to be pretty modern today. I don't think any of them don't support alpha channels anymore. But like a PNG file, for example, is different from a JPEG because it includes a alpha channel. So all the checker patterns that you're seeing surrounding the characters here, that is an alpha channel. And it sometimes it's represented with a different design or pattern, but usually it's a checkerboard. And basically what we want to do here is we want to give Midjourney none of the artifacts that were creating the errors that you were seeing by highlighting more around the edges of the characters and around the edges of your selection. So basically we're just gonna cut this image up a lot in order to reveal more of that alpha channel and to give Midjourney like the instruction to go, oh, okay, you want me to work in this area. So let's go ahead now, and we're going to just select everywhere around our characters a bit, just making sure that we get nice clean edges on all this. So we just come into here, boom, zoom, no problem. It is one of those things that if I do recommend taking a Photoshop class or otherwise, maybe going to your community college and trying a digital arts class as well, because they will go a little more in depth with specific programs. We do go into Photoshop every once in a while here, but I was given notes by you guys to basically say like, look, we don't have Photoshop. There is plenty of Photoshop alternatives out there, like Affinity and whatnot, that you're more than welcome to explore on our Discord channel. So inside of our Discord, you're actually going to find something called the knowledge base. And inside of the knowledge base, you're going to find a section for not only Photoshop tips and tricks, but also a list of alternatives for every Adobe program. So this is a very popular thread inside of our Discord here, but basically it lets you be able to say, I don't want to pay that sort of money in order to do these things. So here's a list of alternatives for you. I've been using Photoshop for decades. But maybe I'm learning what alpha channel. Sometimes you just kind of overlook some pretty core things. I didn't know that there was alignment buttons in After Effects for the first 4 years that I used it, and I would have so benefited from having that center to canvas button. I just did it all mathematically instead, with like expressions and stuff, and like somebody years later was like, why are you doing it that way? There's a button right here for it. And I'm like, you son of a... The gnarly shuffle? Yes. This is great. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, cool. But let's go ahead and now jump ourselves back to this image that we were editing here. And we still have a little bit more to edit. We do have to come into the actual characters here and clean up some of the fraying that they have here. Just a little bit, not much. There's just the little parts where the hair kind of shows some of that background a little bit that we had earlier. We just want to get rid of that by clicking on small parts of her and whatnot. Let's just go with this. I think this is fine. We've basically said, here's an alpha channel around all the characters. But we need to do actually one more. We need to come into here and clean up some of the fraying around our original selection. So basically remove the silhouette of your character the best you can, because that's going to get rid of any small pixels that you don't even see. Just like information that says who your characters are and what and the shapes that define them. Get rid of those shapes, because that's going to help out a lot for getting this to be a nice clean background here. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, we're good there. I think that's about good. We've gotten rid of our shapes mostly here. Just get rid of this shoulder right here, and that should be it. Now we can hit submit. So beforehand, what we had was essentially those artifacts where Midjourney has to justify every part of your image. If you include like any pixel data, it's going to try to make sense of that data in some way. So what we're doing instead is we're getting rid of as much of that information as possible in order to get a cleaner result like this. Okay. And you can see that we were able to get her to now be kind of standing or walking with her. We probably want to describe this as one girl, and a two comic depicting one girl who is standing straight up, or just standing straight, in a lazy, dismissive pose, shouting at another girl who is running. Okay. I love giving like emotional performances inside of poses because so much of our language is body language. You could say that she's sitting in a depressed manner, she's sitting in an anxious manner, anything like that is going to work and usually work pretty well. It's a little convoluted with the fact that we have two characters in this inpaint, but it is pretty cool that we can just kind of come into here and now fix up any of these last minute, like if we don't want her walking or anything like it. It's funny that she's doing like a light jog in this actually, and that she is running. That's quite fun. I'm just gonna hit create to page up here and upscale this. Ooh, Enid, I like this. I like this Victor a lot. That's awesome. Ooh. All right. We haven't been back in VC Create a minute because I was dabbling with the editor for a little too long there. But let's check out these videos and then some of the other comics that you guys have been working on. So let's see this video first. So this one was just running the prompt with motion low with the prompt written as is. Okay. And she's kind of spooked because of the scared lips of the robot girl on the left there. I do like the video of the third one the most. But you can see just how much more it like just wildly moves around with motion high, but also by letting the image just interrogate and figure out what it wants to do on its own is pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. Oftentimes I'll be inspired for random little moments. To me, it looks like the very first one here, she's choking. like you gotta do the Heimlich maneuver. So I am gonna upscale this first one, and then I'm gonna say that the robot girl does the Heimlich maneuver on the mother, something like that, and we'll see what that gives us. We see some more multiple comic panels here. Yeah. I mean, like the main thing with this is that when you ask for too many panels, right, it tends to convolute the text a little too much if you don't have enough text to fill in all those panels. I've seen some really big prompts, really big prompts that kind of go above and beyond what you would imagine would work, and it still does. But it is quite funny to at least to iterate off of these and to work with it. So let's go ahead and see what else we got here. A robot wearing cardboard box camouflage plating, full body armor made of Amazon delivery boxes with fragile stickers everywhere. It looks stealthy until the first hit, then it collapses into a pile of packing peanuts while the robot yells, "I was in stealth mode." Okay. That's funny. We didn't get any of the action in there, but we definitely got the at least the characters here. I will say that when it comes to, especially with these profiles, sometimes you don't even need to write that it's across multiple panels. Like you saw that wasn't said here at all, but it might help the concept of the comic like to be understood. Multiple comic panels depicting a couple humanoid. Oh yeah, this is from earlier. I like it. Let's see here. Oh wow, a humorous 4-panel dynamic comic strip. That is a very long prompt, so I'm not gonna hold you guys up by reading all of it, but let me go ahead and take a look at this. Hey Genius. We know that it's working well when I can like quickly understand what the comic is by, just by reading it. But it looks like this one kind of got a little lost here. So let me take a look at the premise here. Hey Genius, when was the last time you drank water? Panel 2, robot scanning the human with a holographic display showing hydration warnings. Text bubble, your hydration levels are embarrassing. Robot gets sassier, hands on hips. Text bubble, drink water dummy. Panel 4, human drinks water, looks refreshed. Water looks proud but smug. I think the main thing with this one, Anatarian, is the fact that that if you looked at it more as I am doing each panel as its own dedicated prompt, you're going to get a lot more reliable for something that has this many iterations necessary to kind of sell the bit, right? So that would be the first thing. Like if we just minimize the prompt to just the first panel here. So instead of a humorous 4-panel dynamic comic strip, let's just do a humorous comic strip. And then let's say that this appears to, we'll leave all the premise the same, but I'm just going to focus on the first panel. So in the panel, a person at the desk looking tired and foggy. Tiny animal robot appears from the screen. Text bubble, hey genius, when was the last time you drank water? All right, we're going to go with that first, making sure we keep all of our profiles and things like that. And also keep in mind that the higher your stylization is, the less likely it's actually going to adhere to the concept that you have. It essentially, like, a stylization can overwrite what's happening as well. A lot of the parameters can actually overwrite what you've written in the prompt. So going too high, don't try to min-max these things. Like, go for a little bit here or there and see what works for you. And I'm seeing a lot of really fun ones with Gomes' profile here combined with the Sage profile and my personalization code all mixed in. It's really cute what you guys are able to do by combining these. I see Noob Lady has also combined them and made a rather lengthy text prompt here. It's not too long, actually. Why is it so much text in there? Every time it makes satisfying pop 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 sound, and the robot starts giggling uncontrollably instead of counterattacking. That's interesting. You probably want to say that it's across multiple panels to get the action in there, and then include the speech bubbles afterward. You can even say no speech bubbles if it's taking too much of the frame for you. But we got the two robots at a diner in the classic Lolo Soon style. Perfect. We have our robot. Is that actually okay? I got jumped up a bit here. Okay, I see. Neat. Okay. Hey, look at this. You got more of these two. That's great. I see. Oh, okay, yeah, the hydration ones. I see these little robots here with the toothbrush. That's adorable. Okay, all right. So you've made a lot of progress with these already, but I want to get back. I just want to make sure I don't jump around too much, and I want to make sure I address this comic here right off the bat. I gotta go all the way down. There's a lot for you guys. Okay. So, is this the one that I was working on? Yes. Okay. A humorous comic strip in light and blue colors. Okay. So now that we have essentially said we're just trying to get that first panel, right? We're able to pick which ones work the best for us here. So much better. Yeah. I mean, like, it really lets us get the options to pick rather than like focus on one. But let's also try adding that raw parameter to it, because that, with the combination of all these profiles and things, could get us something more reliable, less noisy. We'll see what we get off of that. Now, what I mean by noise is less randomness that comes into like the compositions and whatnot, particularly when it comes to trying to justify certain line weights and things that I have inside of my comics and then trying to put them in other styles. I feel like Raw does a better job handling that. I'm coming to the cottage. This is great. Yeah, the full panel works from Thoughtful Bear here. They're using an SREF code here and their own profile. So that's awesome. I'm curious to hear more about this profile, Thoughtful Bear. If you want to just describe it for me real quick in VC text, and where you got this SREF, if you got it from the style creator or if you got it from the Explorer page. Very curious to see that. And I see that one of you guys did the spiky with me at Enid. Yeah. I see that. But this is using Omni referencing, which is from version 7. But let's go ahead and see what I got from... Okay, it's still rendering here. Okay, just a moment. I'm going to take a sippy of this Canada Dry Fruit Splash, which is the grossest ginger ale I've ever drank. And I'm drinking it. Here we go. All right. Oh, God, that's gross. I just needed to drink something. And the SRS from the style creator. Profile is just one I had to quickly create before it would let me continue to use Niji 7. I see. Nice. I'm traded to Niji 7. I'm a bit of a B7 addict, yeah. Some of like, especially the realism and 3D stuff that you're able to get out of B7, I totally get. I get it. Okay. All right, so this is the only difference I made with that prompt from before outside of trying to focus on it, is I run it in raw. And I feel like we're getting a little more coherency out of the especially the interactions between the robot and the main character, right? So I like this one more. Let's go ahead and upscale that one. And then you could just basically start doing variations instead of new prompts on this one. So let's do a variation subtle. And we could rewrite the text bubbles to be different to follow in line with your premise, Anatarian. or we could just leave it as is and then pick a better start frame with it. So we'll see what this does. But what is this that you guys got? What's Golem got going on here? Dark, moody, dramatic anime screen cap of a terrifying robot warrior silhouetted against the moon with 4 different profiles attached to it and style 60. Lower styles are going to give you oftentimes more, what is it, like just more easily understood images, in my opinion. And I mean that is like as legibility thing. Like I can read these images instantly and know that these are either villainous like characters or otherwise have this sort of like robot knight effect, right? I can just read that so quickly. And I feel like if I go into here and increase that style, you're going to get more elaboration, more intricacies that honestly half the time I don't like. Not it's no fault of Midjourney whatsoever. A lot of people like that intricacy. A lot of people like that fidelity that you see there. But for me, as a cartoonist, I don't. And the reason why is because I want images to be read really easily. People relate to things that are simple. I've talked about blobs with depression for years now. But the reality is that people identify a lot more with a simple blob than they do with a highly rendered character. And it's because they can imprint themselves into that minimalist depiction. So I won't go on that rant again. I've done that a couple times already, but I just want to say that oftentimes lower stylization can be better for things like comics or quick doodles, things like that. So I think I just submitted the prompt as is. You guys just really made me fall in love with this style right off the bat. So I'm very curious to see where you guys go with this. I especially love this. I especially love this. Yeah, I'm very curious. Victor hates fine art. Got it. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So this is the variations that I did off of that robot one there. And you notice that we actually were able to retain the character style and also the robot character as well. And it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. It gives us a lot of variety in our options of what we could do with these characters, as well as gives us tons of references for these characters as well. Notice on the bottom right image, we actually have a profile for this character now, as well as a kind of dismissive look over here. We have, like at least for the robot, we have a couple different poses and expressions on him as well. So there's a lot of really fun ways that we can use variations to be able to get that variety of images that we need to build a comic. But I am seeing at least this was just my re-roll of it. I'm curious, are you guys going higher with stylization on this? I noticed you bumped it up a little bit here. Yeah, I'm liking where some of you all are just incorporating your profiles into here. This is my profile, isn't it? Yeah, that's why I like it. No kidding. Okay. Let's see here. A robot city. Oh my God, yeah. No, that is certainly the proof of the pudding about the personalization code working. Is I like all 4 of these results, that it is certainly my code here. So why don't we do this? So a dark, moody, dramatic anime screen cap of a terrifying robot warrior silhouette against the moon. Okay. So why don't we try to, iterate this, it to fit within the March of the Machines sort of theming. I'm curious if we're able to kind of expand on one of these characters as being like at least in a couple different poses, so we could get them from a couple different places, but we can use Midjourney Video as well to kind of hone that in. I like the third one the most. I feel like it has the most potential to be like, also to give people plenty of room to fill in what this silhouette is, right? Are robots just blobs with depression? Yeah. Yes. Let's see. All right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do variation subtle, but I'm also going to do a trick that we had done that I'm not really too sure how well it works with Niji 7, but we're going to do what is called a custom zoom comic. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the zoom to 1. And the reason why we're doing that is because we don't actually want to zoom. What we're doing here is we're kind of tricking Midjourney to make a comic out of this or to make a storyboard out of this, right? So now I'm going to say that dark, moody, dramatic anime screen cap, I'm going to say multiple of them. So multiple dark, moody, dramatic anime screen caps, make sure that's plural, of terrifying robot warriors silhouetted against the moon. So what I'm going to do now is change the aspect ratio to effectively be 3 times the height that it currently is, right? So that means that 9 out of 69 needs to be 3 times the value of it. So that is going to be 27. So 16 by 27, that should work. And the math, it should auto-convert as well. So I'm not really too worried about that. But the idea with this is that we are essentially saying, I liked everything you did in this image here. Let's expand and make that 3 of them instead of 2. So we're going to see if this works first. I'm not really too sure. I haven't done a lot of Niji 7 custom zooms. So we can see, it just expanded the image. That's fine. That's fine. So let's try to do this as a, I want to include something from my Midjourney account here. So let's go into create here, mood boards. And I actually have mood boards that kind of assign specific tasks, right? Like I had one that was just the Sage comics. It's going to be a bunch of comic panels, so on and so forth. But I also have them to where there is a really rigid like sense of like of paneling. So let's go for my hell boards here because I have a comic that I never released that was involving a hell demon. So let's go ahead and go into VC Create. I'm going to hit reroll on this expanse. And I'm going to now include that profile. Oops. What did I do here? I need to hit copy. There it is. Copy it from up here. I'm going to include that mood board or that profile here. That's just going to help assist the fact that I want this to be different panels. And then instead of anime screen caps, I'm going to say multiple panels. Multiple storyboard panels. The storyboard might make it too sketchy. So let's do multiple panels depicting a terrifying robot silhouette against the moon. Ooh, maybe I should run this with raw too. I'm curious if I get any benefits from that. But I'm liking it. It's just not doing what I'm asking. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit reroll on this. Let's try raw as well. And then I'm curious if I just go, if I say the exact number of panels I want. I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna go with storyboard. I'm gonna not worry about if it affects the art style much. But I'm just really trying to see if it's able to split this image and keep consistency, and it's not. I'm not too surprised by that, but the custom zoom function with earlier models would sometimes let us be able to split this up and actually expand and get consistency with that. It was a trick that we did before we even had character referencing in version 6. So let's try something a little funky with this. I'm gonna try to go to Niji 6. I'm just gonna hit iterate on this and then switch to, oh nope, can't do it. It's not letting me convert to Niji 7, Niji 6. All right, that was a good experiment. That was fun. I don't want to focus too much on that. Ooh, yes. Using video now to expand on these characters is the way to go. Let's go ahead and jump ourselves back to that original one here. I see this was the variation that we just did that kind of gave us different options for what this character's silhouette could be. I like the fact that he has this scythe and these tiny eyes in this first one here. But I do like, I like it. The only thing is that the only problem I have with this silhouette here is I cannot tell what's going on here. Is this a large, like, sitar sort of guitar? It looks like it's detached from his arm too. Is it a tail? It could be a tail. So what we're going to do is we're going to work off the one where I can kind of tell the silhouette a little more clearly. Definitely got more of a horror movie vibe with it, but I like it. I like it a lot. So let's go ahead and hit animate on high motion here. Okay. In fact, low motion might be better for this because we really don't want a ton going on. We want to just be able to reference the character from maybe as he reveals himself. So like we could say, let's do this with both low and high. So we get a good diversity of this. Dark dramatic anime is we're going to keep the dark, moody, dramatic anime part of the prompt, but we're going to get rid of the rest of it. We're going to say where the villain slowly reveals himself from darkness. And this is how we're going to establish the villain for this, is we're going to have Midjourney actually hallucinate the villain's design based off the silhouette that we got off of this, okay? So let's copy this prompt. And now we are going to paste that prompt into high motion as well to compare the two. So I just switched this from motion low to motion high, and then we're good to see what this does. Oh, hold on a second. Let me just actually leave everything else, and I'll just delete the doubling of the parameters here. This should work. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we'll let that video run for a moment here. And so it at least for me, what I mostly look for when I'm trying to like engineer the actual prompt that I'm building, it takes a lot of experience with the model first before I really feel like it. I hear this from other people too, that Niji 7 is so new that they don't really know how to use it yet, you know? And sometimes people have preferences for older models just because they work in a way that's super reliable for them. There's no shame, no harm in going back and iterating off of using an older model. But you notice that as soon as I added the fact that like just a little description of the character, that he had a scythe for a hand, the scythe now performs better. It's not perfect in all of them, but it is certainly true that the scythe hand is at least more understood through the what is it? I would say all the way up to the last couple frames on this fourth one are my favorites so far. But a couple different iterations of this, like a couple rerolls of this, and we'd be able to get something really, really crazy out of this. I'm still finding my feet with Niji 7, but making new mood boards rather than forcing old ones is helping. Yeah, I've heard that as well. That if you make fresh new mood boards, and you kind of limit what you're using in there to kind of cater in certain directions, you can definitely, I recommend just copying mood boards and deleting results from certain ones to see how much that improves the result. I did that a lot with the Sage ones, actually, was that I was getting rid of panels that just didn't match the rest of the, or just weren't unique enough from each other. That was the most common reason that I got rid of them. But we see this clanker here. He's awesome. He looks like he's a guy that you would assume is a villain at first, and then he just like he just gives you a back scratch or something. Like, I don't know. He's a little too cute to be villainous, right? He looks sweet. This guy though, he looks like he's gonna break something from you or whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to re-roll this one 2 times, just so that we can get this, and then I'm going to do a little bit of fun video editing with this result here, because we can extend videos with the Midjourney model, and we should, just to see how far we can go with it. But there are benefits to using like the copy frame tools inside of Midjourney. So we're going to dig into that here after we get this whole get this new run of videos done. But let's scroll up a little bit here. I want to point this one out. I gave a little fire emoji to this because Fungi Mancer, obviously, I mean, like he's one of my one of the top prompters in my opinion. He makes some amazing stuff, and look at the level of like just fidel, like just like how gorgeous all of this color palette is. Like just how much it's making me want to learn more about these characters. Why is this man entombed inside of this purple machine of sorts, something that's taking over his mental functions, or maybe is expanding his mental functions. Who knows? And I want to see that kind of logic pulled out from this. So it is something that we can go in and actually make a mood board based on this result alone, and that would also heavily lean the results to look just like this. So for example, we have 2 different profiles attached here, and we could basically just always have them. I'm always so jealous of Fungi Styles. I don't know what secret sauce he has, like what it is exactly that he does, but it always comes out so good. We'll probably mess around with this result here in a minute as well. I'm loving all the other villain characters you guys have made with this prompt, but we're gonna just kind of see what we get off of a good initial result. I want to start off really strong at the beginning here, making sure that the scythe hand is fully understood through the video. And we it largely turns into a handle for the scythe, but this one here, it's consistent. Yes. All right. So let's go with this fourth one here and also take a look at this result here because we ran it twice. So let's see which one keeps the scythe hand. Okay. And also just me writing scythe is going to encourage the character to be like holding a scythe-like shape, right? So we want to move away from that wording pretty quickly as soon as we reveal more of the character. But I see that you have like almost like a Mothman sort of effect happening here because of the silhouette is really focusing on trying to make it like a moth-like guy, little bit like a gargoyle. But I definitely I dig it. I like how you could see more of him on this fourth result here than anything else. Is this one? Yes. Okay. I just like how you can tell more of this character just off of the fourth result, to where we could probably use some of that information for Ford does look good. Exactly. Okay, so we have this result here, this video result. And what I can do now is hop over to my Midjourney account. Let's find that creation. You have to sometimes hit F5 or refresh your browser to get the result that you had there. And so it's this one here. So I'm going to extend manually. And then I'm going to say that this is, we then see the villain fully lit from below, because I've already iterated the start of this prompt. I don't want to be redundant. Otherwise, we might get that weird looping effect that happens sometimes with AI video, where it just repeats the premise of the first prompt and just basically rewinds the video and replays it. Getting rid of the start of the whatever you had in the prompt before is a good way to get around that. But let's go ahead and hit submit on this. I'm also going to do this with high motion as well. See how much faster that was on the website too? I could just click, done. But the other thing that is about this that I really should try to emphasize with you guys, because this is something that you have to make a kind of executive decision pretty early on from this, is whether or not you're going to run these results with HD. So let me hop ourselves back to this initial result that we had. This is the upscale we had. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit use, or not use, sorry. I'm going to hit animate. Shoot. That's not going to show you what I need to show you. There you go. I'm going to hit use on here. I'm going to cancel this run, and then I'm going to turn on HD. So there it is. It's on here. And the thing about HD is that it actually improves the animation quality as well as the image quality of, like, not just the resolution of the image, but it understands, or it can otherwise animate the image better with more information. So if you can afford it and you do have an image that you really want to see expanded on, I do recommend rendering in HD. Just to you know, it's a little frustrating when you do get something really good and it's all like a lower resolution, right? I tend to lean a lot on HD renders to kind of finish these results. But let's take a look at what happened when we had done you could see we got a little bit of that zoom out effect, that little bit of rewind that I was talking about here, but it's not as bad as it would be if I would have left the prompt as is. But I think this fourth result out of these ones is the best, where he's just kind of raising his hands. And this high motion isn't doing much. But if we look at the low motion, I think it's just going to slowly zoom in. Yeah, it's just slowly zooming in. So we could do some tracking stuff to fix this, but it is certainly working. I just really like this villain character. There's a lot of potential here. But what I want to go from here is I want to basically start to introduce who he's being villainous towards. Like what character is seeing this? Is this character about to die? Right? Let's ask that question first. If so, we need a slash. We need something like that kind of thing to cut through this character. Wait, which one are you pointing at? The little mushroom robot. It's very cute. It is very cute. This is the character that's going to die. I think that might be a little too brutal for some folks here. It's all yes. Go to /me. There you go. Yeah, it is certainly from your POV. That's what also makes it so much scarier if you're able to put yourself in the vision or the POV of another character for a moment like that. It forces you to empathize with them. There are ways to do that wrong, right? Like shaky cams tend to throw me out of a scene rather than keep me in it. Like my head doesn't bobble around when I'm walking. My brain automatically calibrates my eyes so that I don't see motion blur. I don't wobble my brain. Like my vision doesn't wobble like you would have with a camera being held with your hand. Um, that pulls me out of it. It's like seeing a lens flare in a movie where it's supposed to be through someone's eyes. Like that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Lens flares are literally the product or a byproduct of looking at light through a lens. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird when you see lens flares where they don't belong in movies. But we're almost done with this video render here, and then we'll take a look at what this really did. Because this should this should give us a little more fidelity in how the character is actually like shaped while it moves. So we'll see what this does here. Almost done. But I am curious from you guys about the confirmation of character is actually a real that's genius actually. That if you see a lens flare, it's like the first indication that someone isn't a real person. That's actually really clever, AC. Like it feels like one of those like they don't know they're a robot yet, right? And then they have you leave all these little hints for the audience that they are, and then when it's revealed, it's like, oh, no wonder they did that. No wonder like little things, it could be even little simple things like she's getting her birthday cake, but there's only one candle on it. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like there's all sorts of little things that you could include that otherwise like allude to that. But that's a fun one. Or they have a glass eye. Yeah. I feel like that would be one of those things where you need to have like a doctor explaining to the audience that like we just inserted a glass eye into you. You might have a little bit. You might see some weird things, and then the weird things turns into like I could see ghosts now. Like I could see that, but it is it's just one of those things where it just on its own it would be kind of like that's okay. I didn't know they had a glass eye this entire movie, but okay, yeah. Anyway, so you can see here that with the HD render, we even got like some smoke effects and some really cool like posing from this character as well. So let's take a look at which one is kind of the best here. So I really like the smoke effect that it applied for this. Like it lifts its hand and it more understood that these kind of claw fingers, like what their shapes are here. It definitely misunderstood the scythe on this one. The scythe is actually pretty well understood in this one too. Yeah, that's pretty badass. It does cut through the cape a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to favorite. I'm going to hit like on the ones that I feel like have the most potential here. Let me just kind of go into here. Yeah, I think that's good. I think we'll work off of just that one then. Which is the one that you had that really good still from? It's one of these, I think. So we can hit Control, by the way, to kind of scrub through these results a bit. And that way I could kind of find it more easily. It's this one. Yes, it is this one. Okay. So I'm going to hit like on these two. And with the way that Golem was able to really quickly get that screenshot, by the way, was by hitting pause on your video, scrolling through Midjourney, and then once you find that pose that you like this one here, you can right-click on it and hit copy current frame, okay? And we can now paste that current frame back into the prompt bar up here. It's going to show up as an image prompt first. We'll just get rid of that. We're going to hit the add images here. But the cool thing is we can actually start the video from this point by starting this iteration from here instead. So now we have a little more information for our villain, right? We know what he know that he has a metal hand. The scythe is kind of look like he's being held like with a very short staff here. So we might want to edit this scythe hand to be a little more like integrated into his hand here. But I'm going to say now that this is, let's just say that this is the villain reveal in a dark, moody anime. And so I'm going with a very open-ended premise here because I want to see some diversity of like where it could take us on this. We don't need to describe the moon. It's able to recognize that there's a moon behind it. It could see the moon as like a projection or a false thing, but it is going to basically recognize it as a moon just off of this. So let's just go with this and see what we get off of that. And then we'll start to iterate on this villainous clanker here. I don't understand people that get upset about the term clanker. Like it is something that I think is just funny, honestly. I don't like it when people call real people clankers, like they're like just because they use AI or whatever. I don't like that. That's kind of lame. But it is something that I recognize. I recognize that the best thing to do in that sort of situation is just to like be human, right? You don't want to like send a bunch of beep boops to them or anything like that. I just recommend being yourself and letting that moment pass. But it is something that I feel like that as people get more and more, integrating AI into their workflows, into their portfolios, so on and so forth, we're going to be hearing terms like that more and more often. So I'm going to give my advice that I've given since the very beginning of doing these streams, which is if you are an artist, if you are someone who's doing design work, architecture, whatever, anything in the arts, I recommend having two portfolios. One portfolio is your traditional digital or digital art, and the other portfolio is your generative art. And this is for no other reason than to make sure that they see you for you in what you can do, and then how much the generative stuff either elevates your work or expands on it in some way. You're not defined by the generative work that you present. And that's why I don't recommend mixing them in the portfolios, because as soon as somebody sees that inside of your portfolio, they're going to go, what else of this is generated, right? It alludes back to when I was 16, 17 years old and tried to apply for a job, and I had one image inside of my portfolio that was edited with Photoshop. All the other ones were just ink on paper. And I lost that job opportunity because the guy said I was lying about my work since it included Photoshop. That fast forward to today, fast forward 20 plus years or whatever, and now we have the same argument being made against people who are using AI. And sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. There are plenty of people that are kind of like basically lying in order to get clout online or to get a job or whatever. I don't recommend ever doing that. I always recommend being honest about your work, and how you made it. But it is something that you really do need you really need to like baby people through this process of saying, this is what my work looks like, without any generative work. And this is what it looks like because I used AI, or how much faster, how much more efficient I was able to get there, that kind of thing. But let's see here. Thoughtful Bear said, I think it's about ease that people want to be able to use a slur, even if it's made up slur for a group that doesn't exist yet. Yeah, I could see that as being just something that kind of it's a cope. I mean, honestly, a lot of it boils down to let's project bad things into what people are doing in order to make ourselves feel more superior or better or whatever. It is something that I try my best to always use in a lighthearted way, because otherwise it evokes meanness from people. But let's take a look at what happened here when we just animated off of that one frame and said villain reveal in a moody anime. And it's still covering the character in darkness, and the scythe is being misunderstood again. But I am seeing a little bit more, like I like this a lot, where the character just suddenly walks up. But I want to go even farther with this. I want to be able to say that this is, I just really like this frame that's here. So let's try to go from one to the other. No, let's try to create a character sheet off of this villain. I think that's what we should do. It's a character stream. Let's focus on characters. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to isolate this character from the frame. We are working with a silhouette, so it's going to be a little interpretive. I was really hoping that we'd be able to pull this character out of the darkness a bit more. But you know what? Victor Gnarly's character workshop starting now. Yeah, no. We've been doing character stuff, but it's all been very much on the long lines of like telling little stories, telling little moments, right? So let's go ahead and hit use on this. But this time, Because I could cut these videos together, sure. But what I want to do is I want to say that the lights turn on or something that really forces this character to be visible. Because I was really hoping that villain reveal would do it. The villain doing the scalar scout twirl in front of the moon. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to say that bright lights shine on the villain uh, like headlights, revealing the mechanoid villain with a hand for a scythe, or with a scythe for a hand. I'm also very dyslexic, right? So it's very common that I will flip things around like that. With a scythe for a hand. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's iterate off of that very first version we had here. There we go. And we're gonna hit high on here. Saber Moon. That's funny. I'm really trying to bank on the idea that we are going to be able to light up this character and be able to then make a turnaround off of that. We've done video turnarounds before, and I think for most people here, they've probably seen me do that more than a couple times. So we'll see if we can get the character lit up here before the end of the stream, and then go from there. We might continue this this dark moodiness for the next stream. It is quite funny how I'm like, hey, let's do a lighthearted sitcom, and then it's this. Yeah, I'm more than that's all because my profile code, my standard sort of aesthetic is very dark and gloomy. I get that, and it's going to be very tempting to lean into that, especially with what my profile code or my personalization is going to lean towards. But it seems like we are definitely not getting out of this silhouette with this character. We definitely got some cool effects going on here with this shining light prompt. But I'm going to go ahead and try another method while this one is rendering. Let's go ahead and grab that image. Copy. You can see with the light effect here is pretty cool, but oh, did I do it as an extension? Is that why? I did it as an extension. Okay, so it is pretty cool that we're able to do this, but I really should just start off with the original prompt here. You can see that kind of click. Now the lights are turned on. Yeah, that's what I wanted to happen off of the original image, not an extension. So let's go ahead and kind of like existing as a shadow form. Right. So what that means is the reason why that happened was because I dragged a video extension like this to the start frame here. It essentially looks at this and goes, oh, okay, you just want to extend this video. What you're looking for is for this image on the bottom right here to just say video instead of video extension. So let's just drag that up to here. And now I have start frame instead of extend. Okay. This one should work. Let's take a look. Yep, now it doesn't say extension, it just says video instead of video extended. So it is important to recognize which prompts you're pulling from for this. I wasn't paying that much attention to whether or not it was an extension or not, but all good. We'll see how that goes here. Because it's an original image too, it's going to take a little longer. So let's let that run. While that's going on here, let's try to get that image. Now, oops. I shrank my window by accident. 2 seconds, guys. There you go. There we go. Okay. Let's go back here. We will grab that initial image, copy image, and I can show you guys the edit function here. If I basically come in and just paste the image into the prompt bar, as long as I'm in the edit tab, it'll just copy and paste the image into there. You can use your family photos. You can use, anything you want to start iterating with Midjourney, and see what sort of cool things we got. We do see a little bit more of the character than I thought, and it looks almost like a farmer, he should have a pitchfork almost. I could see, but I'm curious what happens if I go ahead and basically start to inpaint around this character's body here. Something like this. and we can start to reveal this character a bit. Okay. So we'll say that this is a mechanoid Vitalin anime screenshot. And we have Niji7 already on there, so I'm just gonna submit it with that. We'll take a look-see at this. We do have something called the show after the show that is going to immediately follow this stream around 6 o'clock. And this will be a stream, or it happens on our server, but it lets you come onto the stage and speak to us directly, and just show us your projects, hang out, talk, that kind of thing. It's just a social space for you all to hop in and join the chat here. That will be happening in about 10 minutes. You're more than welcome to join the server by going to VC Text and finding the join server button for the Gnarly Studios, and that'll be the easiest way. Time definitely flew today. Thank you so much for liking that, Kinky. It flew by, honestly. But I'm curious to see if what you guys are working on, what projects you have, what things you're making. And that's the best venue to do it outside of just sharing stuff during the stream here. Especially if you have particular questions, things I did not cover, maybe I missed. That's where you want to go, is the show after the show. So you can see with this in paint, I was able to actually get some legs, a little bit of like an energy core or something in the character here. That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and upscale this one. Okay. And this one is still rendering. You can see the scythe hand has certainly become a normal scythe again. That's fine. But it is something where I was trying to light up this character with the video, and it wasn't really going that way. So I think what we're going to do on the next stream is we would take this character design and start to use it as image prompts to be able to guide the results to giving a more fully lit version of it. It is really cool as is, though. Like we're able to do a lot with just this silhouette here. But I really want to be able to see this character from all sorts of different shapes. This one's the best, though. He's like almost like he's almost like telling you to come here, and then and then the knife coming up is like about to slash. I don't know. Like there's a lot of dramatic performance that's happening in this one, and I like it a lot. So we'll go ahead and just do an extension off of this one, but I'm gonna link that for you guys here as well. Copy video URL. I'm going to paste that here. It's so cool to be able to just quickly get a GIF off of any video results. Like that is honestly so much fun to just to share these results so quickly by right-clicking on the videos and then hit copy video URL. It sends it as a GIF. So it's really easy to just quickly get it into other people's hands. But here's our version with legs. It is definitely more mechanoid now. Has these long gangly legs and hips that are very much like roboticized, so that's cool. Thank you, Edith. But let's go ahead and just basically say, all right, this is an image prompt here, so let's go ahead and drop this to image prompts. Let's drop this, let's get the original premise in there, copy that. So dark, moody, dramatic anime where the villain with a hand for a sight slowly reveals itself from darkness. Let's just say that he has that he has a hand for a scythe, and then we'll go with this with an image prompt. We're going to add a parameter into here that is called image weight. I'm going to basically blast through the last part about this with you guys. So -IW stands for image weight, and it's how much the image you're providing is going to influence the Midjourney result. So if you have it quite high, it's going to look a lot like the image you provide. If you have it very low, it's going to have a lot more freedom to iterate off of that image, to make new things, to otherwise give us a result that may or may not, be closer to what you're actually aiming for. Because a lot of times the default image weight tends to make the image look a lot the same. And I don't necessarily want the same. I want to be able to have the image move around a little bit, to have the composition change a bit, that kind of thing. The most rigid element of doing image prompts is the fact that your composition is mostly preserved. You're always going to have this character standing in front of the moon, standing like somewhat definitely in the middle of frame, somewhat in a villainous pose, so on and so forth. You can see out of all the results we got here, none of them look like a robot because I didn't describe him as a robot, but the image prompt, they all have the same sort of composition. I'm not working on any profiles yet, not doing anything like that. We're just trying to establish this character to be more lit, more seen, while keeping that image prompt here to essentially say, hey, yeah, I want it to look like this, but I don't want it to look too much like this. So let's go ahead and drop that image weight a little bit. Let's drop it to like 0.65 or something. And I want to make sure that based on the results that we get, that we actually make changes, right? Because we do learn from these results. That we learned that it made it very humanoid because I forgot to say that it's a robot. So a dark, moody, dramatic anime where the villain with a hand for a scythe, let's say we're depicting, I'm going to say depicting a robotic villain with a hand for a scythe. With a scythe for a hand. I did it again. Dyslexic moment. All right, for the scythe for a hand. Okay. And lower the image weight a little bit. Now let's see how this does also with the 16:9 aspect ratio. So when we do render it for video, it's a good ratio for that. Once we have the image weight mostly calibrated to where we are able to preserve the composition, that we're able to preserve the general shape of the character, but lets us iterate what's inside of that shape, that's where we really take advantage of the image weights significantly, or just the image prompting in general, because we are able to lower this to the point where we no longer see the moon, or we no longer see like some of the more like just the silhouettes, the shapes. I want to point this out to you guys. This is how we can take advantage of Midjourney's just diverse knowledge set of all the cool things that you can do with Midjourney, is by learning what the parameters are. And we covered a couple of them today, but there is a master parameter list that you can Google right now to get. In fact, I'll just get a link for you guys right now. Midjourney parameters list. One of my very first comics, by the way, was saying that the only reason why I was better at this than other people was because I read the wiki. So I got a few people like going like ha ha ha, and like no seriously, the number of people who don't know that there's a Midjourney wiki out there is huge. So the wiki here is going to give you all the parameters, all like at least up to date ones, and it's just going to let you immediately dig into there. Yeah, we got a couple, we got a clanker coming in and spamming our chat. But let's go ahead and take a look at this result here. Now we have our villain. Look at this. Okay. I'm a little too excited about this. So what we're gonna do is that we have the scythe character. That hand is not a scythe, but the robot character is way more represented here. So let's go ahead and copy this over. We probably need to describe the hand as a prosthetic scythe or something like that, and it will give us a much better result when it comes to how the scythe is being interpreted within the image. But I think it's important to be able to take that and now go back to VC Create. Oh my God, there's so much stuff I need to see from you guys before we end today. But I'm going to hit /show. I'm going to bring this job ID to you guys because I do think that we've established the character's look here. I love this. I think this is such a badass like robot here where he's the Grim Reaper, but he's a robot. And like someone invented him. Someone invented him to be the Grim Reaper, which I think is such an awesome villain thing to do. Be like, oh yeah, the Grim Beeper. Okay, that's a little too cute. Now, I will say this. The idea of like a mad scientist that was like, I'm gonna make the Grim Reaper real, sounds like a really fun anime premise. At least for one villain within the anime, I think it's a fun idea. So, we have something to work with now. That we can iterate on with our next stream, which is every Friday at 4. I hope to see you guys there next week. But it is something that if you do have time this coming week, we do have also 2 other events to keep in mind. We have our jam sessions on the Gnarly Studio server every Wednesday after the office hours. So as soon as the office hours are done, you can come on over to the Gnarly Studio server and just make something with us. I really want to encourage you to bring your projects. Just leave your stream up and we'll all hang out and watch each other make stuff. It's a great way to get inspired and to figure out new ways to make things. We also have game nights every Thursday at 5. All these times are East Coast, by the way. Sorry, I didn't give any translations for that or any links to that. But game nights are 5 o'clock on Thursdays, and we just play whatever. We played Catan this week, and it might be Catan again next week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But we've been having a lot of fun doing that. So I hope to see you guys there. Oh, you can see the Niji video broke the idea of the scythe that's here and just kind of snapped it in half as he moves. This is normal with overlapping elements. So I highly recommend that we iterate off of this. Please remind me next stream to iterate off of the Scythe Reaper, the Robo Reaper. I want to keep working on this guy because that's too fun. We can make a character portal entry for it, but I'm going to focus on that. That's going to be a whole kit caboodle. We'll do that next week. I just really dig this guy. I'm going to go for now and paste this into our media. Thank you so much for posting the time code there. Go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this inside of the stream content. And this is where we can like catch up with previous streams, what SREFs and what profiles we use, so on and so forth. But I'm just going to paste this here as a reminder for myself to work on this Scythe villain here, because this is such a cool robot villain. I want to keep working on it. So we're going to call it the Robo Reaper for now. And I'll make a proper character portal entry for that, because the character portal is where we actually house all the characters that you guys are more than welcome to iterate off of. I just didn't get into that at all today. This is a very, I'm glad that you guys have had a lot of fun with this stream. I could tell from certain responses that we've gotten, but it is certainly one of my more hoppy, skippy, all over the place streams. So next week we'll focus on building character sheets and starting to give this character a backstory. And maybe by the end of the month, we have a completed like 2-minute short on this character. That's my goal. My goal is to, instead of trying to make a whole month-long theme around machines or whatever, I want to have a project like an end, like a finished product by the end of the stream. And it's going to take more than one stream to do. So we'll go from there. Next week, we'll establish the characters and the plot. So, okay, guys, thank you all so much for today. And thanks again to AC and to Kiki for co-hosting with me today. Really appreciate all you guys, and I appreciate all you all listening. I'll be on the show after the show. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.